With the RAB in February 2012 about munitions. We don't have a large area of concern for munitions, but we wanted to make sure you were aware that we had this some inert items found. So, one thing to remember about the history of Treasure Island is we didn't have active munitions operations like a firing range out here or disposal, detonation ranges out here. What we did have was classroom training that used some props. We also had munitions storage in the before the housing was here. Those are where we believe these came from. Back in 2009, when we did the excavation at Westside Drive, there was a heavy debris area. In that debris was a lot of various debris, everything from engine blocks to cafeteria trays, and these are some of the items that were found at that time. Now, at the time, the contractor decided they were innocuous and stored them. That is not the protocol today, but they stored them, and then in February 2012, they found them, brought them to our attention. We were all a little surprised they were storing them. We managed them, managed the disposal of them, and then that's why we presented that information to the lab in February.
What are they? I can't see them.
Yeah, so it's a little hard to tell, but these items are what you would call a 20 millimeter. That's actually the diameter, not the length. These were various munitions and or parts of them. These are bases. They would be the base plate. That looks like a base plate. These are small arms, just like what ammunition you can buy at Walmart in some states.
Like bullets?
Bullets, yes. And then these are larger. This is what looks like, this is typical of what we found, is that this is a casing. So in a typical munition, you have the larger explosive and then a projectile on the top. And that is, you could tell by this hole that was drilled through it. That was typically done to show that it was free of explosives for training or various display. And that's why we believe most of these were from some sort of display or training class. We did find those in that debris at SWITA Westside. And at the RAB meeting in 2012, we said, when we come out and dig this area, we know that we have to take some extra precautions. Even though we only found items that had no explosives, we take the precaution anticipating we could find one that does have explosives. So
you've never found live ammunition?
We have never found live, anything with explosives at Site 12, correct.
Hold on, please. Please hold your questions no matter what they are until the period, and let the presenter go through the presentation, please.
We did in 2014, we were digging in an area, not in this debris area, but relatively close, found 3 other items. So we stopped work in that area and set it up for this future work as well. There's a figure that's coming up that will show you that area. And these were those items. And you can see that they're crimped or pinched or crushed. These are actually part of one item, but it was cut, which was also another way of making sure that people knew it wasn't a hazard. So while we only expect inert or non-explosive items, we're going to proceed with safety measures as if we could find items with explosives, or live items as they're often called. So this is a figure. So this is the debris area where we found lots of heavier debris than other areas of Site 12, really larger items, more metal items. And then this area here is where we found those 3 items. So it's, again, we only found inert items at Treasure Island, and we only expect them in this area. With all the other excavations that have happened at Site 12, this is the only area where we've found those items. So as a precaution, when we excavate the soil here and we take it to the radiological screening yards that will also be screened for munitions. So the screening is similar in that they walk over with a detector, there's a picture later, but instead of a radiological detector, it's a metal detector. So, and it's done by folks that have expertise in recognizing the components of various munitions. And then we also will have a third-party contractor, so not the one who's doing the work, overseeing it. That's kind of a routine for all munitions projects in the Navy. And they basically serve as our experts in the field because they are trained to recognize those items too and make sure nothing gets missed. In typical munitions work, there are safety distances that apply, and that means that's really in place to protect the workers as well as any surrounding community. And those safety distances just mean that only essential personnel can be in the work area when there's an anticipation of potentially finding munitions. So that is there to protect the workers and also the surrounding community, but those safety distances will not impact the public community. If an item cannot be verified that it's free of explosives, then we have the experts come in to bring in and resolve that. It really does have to be 100% visible to be inspected, so often when we don't know that, we have to decide how to treat that to make sure it's safe. Okay, so here is, it really looks like your beachcomber metal detector, because that's what it is. They typically use what's called an all-metals detector because you have to detect ferrous and non-ferrous metals when you're looking for munitions. And this is a picture of the technicians working at a different base on a radiological screening pad as well. So the radiological screening makes the finding of munitions even easier because we're putting it in 6-inch lifts in the RAD screening. They'll also be overseeing the excavation to make sure they don't see anything before it even gets to this RAD screening. Okay, I'll hand it back to Chris.